Hey Killer Bees, it's Paula B from PaulaBFitness.com, and on tap today we are finishing out the month of Summer Strong with one of my favorite kinds of workouts. You guys, this is beginner body weight number 20. This workout is perfect for you if you are just getting started with strength training or even just working out at home. You do not need any equipment at all. Of course there's a warm-up, and this is a nice, gently paced workout with lots of explanation. So when you're ready for this one, I am totally ready. Let's go. All right, you guys, we are gonna get right into it. Let's go ahead and start moving and grooving with some nice big arm circles. We are aiming for some full body mobility work today. I tell you what, you do not need equipment to get strong and fit at home. So what I've got for us today, you might have noticed in the intro that I am wearing my handy dandy Gym Boss. This is not a HIIT workout though. I do not want you to be afraid of that. I've got the timer on so that I can make sure that we've got plenty of time for explanation while we're doing the workout, so that I can make sure that we're using really, really good form. And therefore, I don't want to have to be counting. So we've got very generous time intervals today. Let's go ahead and do some arm crossers as well. I've got it set here for 1 minute of work and just 10 seconds of rest to change positions and get ready for the next exercise. But again, I don't necessarily want us moving very fast today. Yes, your heart rate's going to come up. Yes, we're going to get sweaty, but that happens at every workout. So we're not trying to really get cardio work today nearly as much as we're just trying to work smoothly and make sure that we have really good form. Coming up next, we're going to do some leg stretchers. So feet are nice and wide. Hands are on your knees or on the ground, whatever works for you, and we're bending one knee and then the other. This should feel like a really nice stretch on your inner and outer thighs. This is getting your ankles moving, your knees moving, your hips moving, a little bit of everything here. Now, we're not necessarily putting our hands on the ground. If you are flexible enough, help yourself to that. But we're actually not going to do anything weighted on our hands today. This is an entirely standing workout. And yes, you can do upper body strength training without getting down on the ground. Coming up next, we're going to do some booty kickers. We got one more of these leg stretchers on each side. Oh, that feels so good. And then some booty kickers. Getting a nice stretch into the hip flexors here by sitting up straight and tall, as well as your quadriceps in front of your legs. Awesome job. Now this is the last of our warm-up. If you'd like to repeat it, I'll put an annotation here on the screen. If you're just waking up early in the morning or you want a little bit more time to get your heart rate up before we get going, you can repeat the warm-up real quick. But otherwise, we're going to get into it. Got the timer here set for 1 minute intervals with just 10 seconds between. And we're going to get started with something I call peekaboo and why, which sounds really funny, but I'll show you what it means. We've got our elbows up. We're going to go peekaboo and then make the letter Y and then back down and close. We're going to do 1 minute of that. So elbows are shoulder height. Squeeze from your back to open it up. Pull it up into a Y. Back down and closed. Belly button is in nice and tight. We're bracing that core. As soon as your hands come up, basically at all, when your elbows are shoulder height or higher, you really want to make sure that your core is engaged so that your lower back isn't taking on any of this work. We're trying real hard not to have too much curve in our lower back, standing up nice and straight. So knees are soft, really squeezing from those shoulder blades in the back. You can feel your chest muscles working. You can feel your back muscles working. And why? I don't know, why not? When it beeps, we are going to get 10 seconds of rest to move into our next exercise. Our next one is going to be a lower body exercise. Feet are close together. You're going to come into a little bit of a squat, and we're going to step back one at a time. Let's go ahead and get started with that. Now the thing about this squatty step back, we're not doing a full-on squat. I know that sometimes squats can be a little bit scary, and I do worry a little bit about form if you are just getting started with strength training and body weight training. Squats can be real tricky, and you want to make sure that your knees are always safe. So this squatty step back is both easier and harder. It's not a full squat, but we're staying in this bent position for the entire minute. So you're really going to feel this work in your hips, your glutes, your quads, your whole lower body. Basically, it is getting a great workout by holding this slightly lowered position. And it helps you think about form by keeping your hips pushed back. This is a squatting position where your hips are behind you and your knees don't go over your toes. Next up, we're going to do bent over flies. So we're still bent over a little bit, but knees are just nice and soft, even a little bit of bend there. So tip it forward. Hands are going to be right in front of you, and we're going to squeeze it open as though you're trying to fly. Pull them down and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze from your back. Now the difference between pulling your shoulder blades together and shrugging your shoulders is that your shoulders actually stay down when you're squeezing from the shoulder blades. When you're shrugging your shoulders, you can feel your neck muscles really getting into that and your shoulders coming up next to your ears. You really want to keep your shoulders as low as possible, but squeeze from the middle of your back, trying to get those angel wings pulled all the way together. This is a great way to teach your posture to sit up nice and straight and tall by having nice, strong back muscles. Might even feel like a bit of a stretch in your chest when we're doing this too. When it beeps, we're going to get 10 seconds of rest, and then we're going to go into our next exercise. Whew, just in time. Coming up next, something I call crane kicks. This is a bit of balance work. I'm going to start with my left leg on the ground. Core is pulled in tight, and we're going to kick and kick and kick. Now I'm actually going to take this timer off so that we can do half on one side and half on the other. I want to be paying attention to this. 30 seconds is plenty of work on any one side. I know you can feel this in your abs, in your glutes, in that standing leg, maybe even down, whoops, in your shin. And in fact, it's time to switch sides anyways, thank goodness. Go ahead and change legs. Pull that knee up nice and strong, and just a little kick. This is not a powerful kick, as you can see. I'm not trying to hurt anybody with this kick. But by moving that foot and that leg, you're really getting a different sort of dynamic balance. You're trying to throw yourself off your own balance, which, if you are me, is enough anyways. When it beeps again, we're going to get 10 seconds of rest, and then we're going to go into our last exercise in the circuit. And yes, this is a circuit. We're going to repeat these exercises 3 times. Coming up next is a forward bend. Hands up over your head. Elbows are going to stay next to your ears the whole time. Feet are a little bit wider than hip width apart. We're going to push those hips back and then pull those hips forward. Now you're not just bending forward. I know that you could get a lot lower. In fact, if you were bending forward and letting your back round. The point of this exercise is that your back stays straight and flat the entire time. If you had a weight in your hands and your hands were down in front of you, this would be called a deadlift. This is exactly what this move is a deadlift. But because we've got that overhead motion, we're actually getting a little bit more upper back work too, a little bit more upper body strength. Working on those arms and your upper back, feeling a nice stretch in your chest, which will really help you stand up straight and tall. When it beeps again, of course, we're going to get 10 seconds of rest, and we're going to come right back to the start with those peekaboo and why. Peekaboo, why? I know. It's just me being silly. Don't worry about that. Knees are soft, core is in tight, elbows up at shoulder height. Peekaboo and why. Awesome. Now, if this is your very first time doing any kind of body weight training, or even if you've been working out for a little while but haven't done quite so much upper back work, this is actually a very upper back centric workout. You will probably notice your shoulders feel very tight and even sore tomorrow. That's totally okay. You didn't sleep wrong, and that's a good thing. These are muscles that we don't actually train very often. So working them with body weight only, without putting too much pressure on them with weights in our hands, is a great way to start strengthening your shoulders and upper back. When it beeps, we're going to get 10 seconds of rest, and we're going to move into those squatty step backs. You are doing an awesome job. Peekaboo. And why? I know, I had to finish that one out. Squatty step backs are next. Pull in your core. Feet are just hip width apart, maybe even a little bit closer. Stick your butt out behind you, and there we go. Step it back, step it back. This is nice and slow if you want to go a little bit faster. Sometimes I actually do this as a little bit of a cardio move because you can get going pretty quickly with this one. But if your balance is an issue like it is for me, it's totally okay to take this a little bit slow and really think about your form. Think about keeping your hips pushed back. Think about squeezing from the glutes to move that leg back. Really forcefully put your leg into position so that you're thinking about using your glutes and your hamstrings for this motion. Core is engaged the entire time. Back is nice and flat. Neck is neutral. Your back and your neck are nice and straight, even while your legs are moving. Knees are not coming over your toes. When it beeps again, 10 seconds of rest, thank goodness. And then we're going to do those bent over flies again. Whew. All right, stand up straight and tall. Move those shoulders around because here we go. Feet just a little bit wider than hip width apart, whatever's comfortable for you. Knees are soft, core is in tight. Hands are straight down in front of you, and let's fly. Squeeze and close. Squeeze it open and close. If you feel your back rounding or your shoulders hunching, go ahead and stand up for a quick second. Take a break. That's exactly why I have such a long interval for us today. I wanted to make sure that you had plenty of time to move through these exercises gently without trying to get in too much. And if you need to take a break, you can take a quick break and come back to it and still get plenty of volume. When it beeps, of course, we're going to get 10 seconds of rest. And then we're going to do some more balance. Going to do those standing abs and glute work. Anytime we're standing on one foot, we are working on your butt and your abs at the same time. Isn't that awesome? It's a little 2-for-1 deal on that. Excellent. All right, I'm going to start with my left leg on the ground just like I did before. I really like to get that left leg out of the way. We're going to pull that knee up to your chest as close as you can. Belly button's in tight. And kick. Awesome. I've got my eye on that timer. Not 1 second, over 30 seconds on each side. 30 seconds is plenty of balance work. As you can see, for me, balance work is not something that comes super easily to me. I still struggle. I still have to practice and work on this all the time. Here's our last kick, and let's switch sides. Get yourself set. Belly button's in. Kick and kick. Awesome. Little bit easier for me on this side. This is my dominant leg. It tends to be a little bit stronger. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm better at balance on this side though. It's kind of funny how that happens. Even my dominant leg struggles for balance. When it beeps, we're going to get 10 seconds of rest. And then we are already ready for those forward bends for the second time. Feet just a little bit wider than hip width apart. Knees are soft, core is in tight, back stays super straight. Hands up overhead and bend forward by pushing your butt back. And then squeeze your glutes to pull your butt back forward. Hips go back. Hips come forward. Awesome. I know that as we get into this minute, your shoulders get real tired, really want to sag forward. Take a second at that standing position to really let your shoulders pull back into position. Really trying to keep your back squeezed throughout this exercise. Working that whole rear chain to keep your back and your butt and your hamstrings, everything behind you, nice and tight for this exercise. We spend so much time working on our front. You know, we're always so concerned about our abs and our biceps. We want to look so good in the mirror that we forget that the rear needs to look good too. And stand up. Excellent. And here we go into round 3 of 3. This is the last time that we're going to do peekaboo and Y. All right. Core is set. Peekaboo and Y. Awesome. This is starting to feel both easier and harder. This is the great thing about round 3. It's easier because you totally know what you're doing now. Your body is ready for this. Your core pulls in tight. You know where your hands are going to go. You know how to squeeze those shoulder blades. But oh my goodness, those muscles are getting tired. My arms are getting shaky. My back feels shaky. So it gets a little bit tougher on round 3. Doing your best to hold good form. Still squeezing those muscles every time. If you need to take a quick break and come back to it, that's totally fine. A minute is plenty of time for this work. When it beeps again, we get to put those arms down, thank goodness, and we're going to go into squatty step backs for the 3rd and final time. Awesome. All right. Whew. Give your arms a little bit of a break. I've got hands on hips for this one. Feet are close together. Stick that butt out behind you, and here we go. Step it back. Awesome. Nice squeeze in that tushy. Feeling this in your quads for sure, and your hips and glutes. Nice and strong. We are getting it all today. I tell you what, we're working the upper body, obviously. I know you can feel that in your upper back. We're working your abs with that balance work, and boy, are we working these glutes. You could be sore anywhere tomorrow. We are not just working one body part. We are working them all. When it beeps, we get to stand up just briefly though, because we're going into those bent over flies. So we're still kind of working those hips and glutes by holding a nice strong stance for those bent over flies. Awesome. Very nice. All right. Walk it around for just a second. Shake out that booty. And then here we go into bent over flies. Nice strong stance. Squeezing those glutes to hold steady. Knees are soft. Core is in tight so your back is straight. And we're squeezing from those shoulder blades. If only we were getting actual lift off with these flies, huh? Wouldn't that be nice? Flying away. Can you imagine though, oh my goodness, what kind of arm and shoulder strength that takes. I tell you what, I got a lot of respect for birds. It takes a lot of wing strength to be able to get your body up off the ground. Nice big squeeze every time. Obviously the resting position is when your arms are down, so if you need to take a couple of seconds down at the bottom of this movement, that is totally okay. Remembering to breathe, thinking about not shrugging your shoulders, but squeezing from those shoulder blades. Very nice. 10 seconds of rest. And then here we go into crane kicks for the 3rd and final time. I'm starting on my non-dominant leg. Stand up straight and tall, pull that knee up, and kick. Awesome. Wherever your hands need to be to not fall over is totally fine. I know lots of times, like when I was first starting on balance work, I would stand real close to the wall just in case. Just needed a little tap every now and again to remind myself that I wasn't going to fall over. If you do feel yourself coming out of it, just tap that foot down. Don't struggle to hang on to this. And there's our last one, and switch sides. Struggling to stay in a balanced pose can actually really put a lot of torque on your knee or your ankle. I would much rather have you put your foot down and then come back into the balanced pose than struggle and fall out of it and accidentally injure yourself. We are not okay with injuries around here. I would always rather have you be safe and modify an exercise than fall or hurt yourself or do something that strains anything. All right, you guys, here it is, our very last exercise in the circuit. Forward bends. Feet are wider than hip width apart. Shoulders are pulled back and down. And push those hips back. And pull those hips forward. Awesome. Squeeze from that butt. Squeeze from those shoulders. Feel that stretch and the work back in the back of your legs, your hamstrings. Really getting a good workout today. Stay strong. Neck is neutral. I know your shoulders are getting tired. I feel it too. I'm right here working out with you. Trust me, I feel this too. And squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. The standing position is as much rest as we get. Your shoulders really don't get a break, but your booty gets a little half a second break here every time we stand up. So take a second if you need to. The next time it beeps, you guys, is the very last time it's going to beep. And that was it. Awesome. We are done. But not quite finished. I have one final thing for us. If you've ever watched my workout videos before, you know I like to finish with something just a little bit tougher. And today it really is going to be a challenge. Find a piece of real estate on a wall. We're going to do a bit of a wall sit. Now normally in a wall sit you're going to sit all the way down. I'm not going to get quite as low as I might normally do because I've got an extra challenge for us today. You can have your hands on or near the wall or on your waist. Here's what it looks like. We're going to kick and kick. That was 1. On each side equals 1. There's 2. We're going to get to 10. This is the only counting I'm going to do today. There's 3. Kick and kick for 4. Yes, I'm going fast. I'd like this to get done quickly. There's 5. I know, this got challenging fast. Welcome to the finisher. That was 6. There's 7. That's why we only do this once. This is not part of our regular circuit. That was 8. And that means this is 9. One more kick on each side right there. And that one is 10. Awesome. Now, we are better than done. We are finished. I am so proud of you. You did a great job today. I've got a full standing stretching video here for you on screen to help you get relaxed and stretch out everything that we worked today. It'll help bring your heart rate back down too. I really hope that you had a great time with this video. If you did, I would love it if you would give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with your friends with one of the buttons below. And if you have any questions at all about any of the exercises or any modifications or anything, please leave me a comment because I love to hear from you and I love to help you get your best workout. And make sure you click that subscribe button so that we can work out together again next time too. Thanks!